The more you forget you're in a machine, the more they feel like your own wings. The Spitfire, it's a symbol, an emblem, a beacon of hope. For me, the Spitfire is freedom.
British pilot Matt Jones and his team are trying to set a new world record in a Silver Spitfire. They hope to fly the World War II fighter plane around the world in 4 months.
You know, this aeroplane is responsible in many ways for the free world we live in. In World War II, the Spitfire defended the skies of the Allied powers from enemy assault. And what we've always wanted to do is inspire people through this aircraft.
I'll never forget this day, ever.
And to do that, I think we need to do something that no one has done before. For us, our mission is to fly this aeroplane around the world. Of the 30 countries we're going to, it fought in 26 of them. If I sit back and think about the whole trip, I think it's crazy. It's a very specialist business. Things can go wrong very quickly. More people have landed on the moon or been into space than will have done what we're going to do.
You must be excited, but also nervous.
There's so much that's gone into it. I really feel that burden of making sure we complete what we've set out to say we can do.
What you're looking at here is a vintage single-engine World War II fighter. Now, to fly that around the world in VMC, which is visual meteorological conditions, so not going into cloud, not going into icing, having to avoid any bad weather. This is challenging flying.
And I moved off.
You can kind of put it all together when you've seen it from space and you realize the magnitude of what this undertaking is. The mountain ranges, the fog, the icing, over the desert, the temperatures they're going to experience. They're going to have to cover a lot of water as well. Things will go wrong. There is no doubt about it. It's a long way to fly. It's a lot of hours in the air. If you make the wrong choice, then it could be catastrophic.
We are just custodians of these aircraft. We want to pass them on to the next generation. We want to carry on telling the story that this aeroplane started telling in the 1940s. The Spitfire has really always been there in my life. And the truth is, I think I never really grew up. To sit here now talking about the possibility of doing something so spectacular fills me with an enormous amount of excitement and pride at the same time.
Your family at home?
Yeah, I've got a girlfriend and 2 stepsons. We live together now in Devon. In that respect, this is a bad time to do this. I should have done it when I was younger, but the opportunity wasn't there then, and it is now.
I want him to go. I know how much it means to him. I know how important it is to him. I want him to be himself and fulfill his dreams.
The aircraft we're going to take on this trip, MJ271, was a defender of freedom, a defender of democracy. She flew 51 missions during the war and helped free Europe from Nazi control. It was a very unusual opportunity that came about for us to take this aeroplane and actually restore it, not build a new one.
A lot of projects these days are built from wreckage dug out of the ground. In this case, this aeroplane had survived and been in the museum since it came out of service. Because of where the aeroplane's going and the length of the legs, we've added extra fuel tanks.
Which extends its range from 350 nautical to nearly 1,000 nautical miles. The restoration, route planning, permissions, and specialist training It's not possible to do this on your own. There's no one else I could have called and said, hey Steve, should we do this? And he immediately said yes.
How many people in the world look to the Spitfire as a symbol of freedom for mankind? It is something that touches the very soul of man.
We have a lot of work to do if we're going to be ready. We're going to fly about 130 hours on the trip, and we're going to be flying over stretches of water and mountains that are pretty inhospitable. We need to get back in 4 months. After that, we run out of logistical help. Our support aircraft will go back to the people who own it.
We've got to get up through Alaska. We've got to get over the Bering Straits before the winter sets in, because if we leave that bit too late, we're going to get ourselves in trouble.
We're going to places such as Russia where the flights are 450 nautical miles and there is no information about what the airfield's like at the other end. We'll get to Japan at probably typhoon season. There are huge hurdles. We can't get permissions through China. The only other option is to go through Hong Kong, but we're being told that's impossible. Smog in India, fatigue in the latter stages of the trip could represent real challenges for us. We need to get back by the end of the year before the weather in Europe just closes us down completely. We just won't be able to get home, and then we'll have done it all for nothing. I can't believe it. After 2.5 years of painstaking work, MJ271 is reborn today with her modern registration. Golf, India, Romeo, Tango, Yankee, or Gertie as we call her. You know, you see this airplane now from a distance and it just looks exquisite. And then you get up close and you can see its personality. You look around and you can feel the people who flew it, the people who fought in it.
Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few.
Wow. Knowing what we're about to attempt to set off and do in it, I'm really quite overwhelmed.
We're at Goodwood, in the south of England, and today is the launch day of the longest flight.
Smithy, I want to do it. I want to see all the stuff go in. But these bits can go now. It does bring home, you know, when you go off and do something like this, there is an adventure, but there is risk as well. And like I've said, I've done everything I can, I think, to mitigate that risk. We need a team, a small number of exceptional individuals.
I'm ex-Royal Air Force Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, so I've flown lots of Spitfires over the years. There's something spiritual, almost magical about this aeroplane.
Taking this beautiful piece of British engineering around the world. The achievement for me is keeping the airplane flying and keeping it safe and making sure everybody comes back in one piece.
Yeah, I've got to go in, just have some water, sit down, I want to say goodbye to you guys, and then... Guys, can you stay out for this? Yeah, thanks, mate.
You know, I started filmmaking to tell inspiring stories. And this is something that I just couldn't turn down.
Right, 1 minute, then chocks out, please.
No matter what paperwork we've got, we may find that we're turned away based on somebody having a bad day. That's going to be a huge challenge to overcome.
You just go and make life work, mate. You grab it and you make it work. I've flown helicopters from the North Pole to the South Pole and various other expeditions. To be able to take this to the world is a really exciting opportunity.
To be honest, it's the first time since I lived with my parents that I've ever felt settled in my life. You know, the adventure is fantastic, and I'm sure once we get out on it, you know, it will be amazing. My biggest fear is something happening while I'm away and not being there for them.
So this is from Tom Cruise. Here you are, after all the meticulous planning, about to embark on a historic adventure and epic proportions. As you say, pilot's Everest. And in keeping with the time-born honoured fighter pilot tradition, I'm shaking your hands and passing each of you a token of good luck and blue skies. I'm looking forward to hearing all about it on your safe return home. Godspeed, Tom.
WWII Spitfire departing to the north. The journey begins.
Flying through the Highlands, through the cells, with a scenery that is out of this world.
Go to the Faroe Islands first.
Are there still many of these aircraft in the world?
There's about 50 flying, but this is probably the most original.
90% incredible and 10% really bloody hard work. Quite pretty here, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing.
We made it.
In the end.
Where are we?
Reykjavik.
Wow, started really now. That feels.
I tell you what,
flew.
it's quite emotional.
It's hard work.
I'm very important, you know. This is my job. I'm the guy who folds the Spitfire cover. All the glory. Who'd want to be a pilot when you can do this?
So we're going to get airborne at 2 o'clock, fly for 2 hours and land at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, and be the same age as we were when we took off.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So if we did that every day, we'd never die. We'd live forever. This sort of operation was going to be prone to the weather gods, and at the moment they're not shining on us. Been speaking to the Met people. The trouble is this bit of water, which is called the Denmark Strait, we've got models, computer models that tell us that there's a lot of cloud and a lot of ice, and that's bad. We're stuck here for 2 or 3 days.
Quite frustrating because it's still really near the beginning of the trip. We want to get moving, want to cover some ground.
Today, we're gonna get you boys to Greenland.
Every part that went into that aeroplane was put into it in this fight for freedom.
She was designed as a short-range interceptor. This is completely outside her design brief. If she gets too cold and we get any form of icing, then, you know, she'll stop flying.
On one expedition, ditched a helicopter in the sea down in Antarctica. We knew the water was killing us, so we spent 10 hours and we'd bail and bail and bail, unconscious by the time they got to it.
Make sure you turn it off
before it gets in. Yeah.
Have you got your thermal undies on?
Yes.
Your gloves with you?
Yes.
Enjoy.
This was always going to be one of the hardest legs of the whole journey.
The iceberg's out on our left wingtip, and there's a massive one that looked like it was the size of an oil tanker.
Wow.
We're at -10 now, -11.
Copy that. A fascinating part of the world, but really hospitable ground. by all accounts, there's actually a scrapyard near the runway that we're going into, which I think is a little bit disconcerting.
Visual with the fields. Pilatus landing first, Spitfire landing 30 seconds later.
Golf Tango Yankee on ground 20.
This is a big moment. The first major water crossing.
It looks nice up there though, so I think we need to fuel and go.
Isn't there one on the southern tip of Greenland?
But again, we don't want to be going down there because that's too far south to then go back to Reykjavik.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you be far better off going there if it's open and clear?
It gets fogged. The only thing what we need is a guaranteed
cast iron one.
The only one that is cast iron is where we're going.
Yeah.
Steve, we need a contingency plan. There are so few options where we're going. If the fog comes in, we need to be able to go back to Iceland.
If there was information,
then you'd know.
Wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
We could come up with all sorts of plans, but the one thing we do know is that we've got enough fuel to get back there.
Yeah, and you know that's open.
Yeah.
Okay, no, fair enough. I was just trying to find a solution that would keep us on this side of the blue water we just crossed.
Yeah. Sorry to make you work on a Sunday.
Ah, no problem. There's not much to do around here anyway.
Not much out here, is there? Yeah, we're at 0 diff, so go ahead and open the door.
Copy that, I'm ready.
It's just vast, isn't it? I've never ever seen anything like it.
It's a scale that you can't get your head around.
No, I know.
How's she look?
Yeah, she's fine. I don't think anybody's done this before, man.
Gertie's such a special aeroplane. I'm really beginning to fall in love with it. She's looking after us so well, and we're all gaining such confidence in her, which is so important.
I enjoyed that.
I've never been across Greenland before. It's quite scary, actually. Don't know what your survival options are over the top of that. Pretty remote, I would think. The weather here is just as you see it. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a civil American base, so the Yanks are here with their military.
Yeah.
Wow, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
We were just in our dorms watching movies, and he came by and he's like, "There's a Spitfire coming in." I was like, "I wonder if it's the guys that are taking it around the world."
No way! That's too cool.
And then, yeah. I read about you the other day. I just happened to see it. Yeah, that's amazing.
Did you?
Yeah. Yep. We spend a lot of time here in Kangalusway. If you make it down there, drinks will be on us.
Cheers, guys.
Welcome, boys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Everyone's saying how huge it is and how amazing it is. That is all we did. That tiny little crossing. And that is Greenland. We have seen a fraction of it, and we thought it was the biggest thing imaginable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Morning, Ben.
Any damage from yesterday's gravel track?
Nah, nothing to speak of, thankfully. I think we got away with that one. There's lots of mental damage, though. I think we were all very tired after yesterday.
So we're behind schedule. The weather doesn't look great, to be honest.
Yeah, we're stuck in Iqaluit. As a wise man said, it's much better to be down here wishing you were up there than up there wishing you were down here. And never was a truer word spoken.
We need to get through Alaska before the 15th of September. That's the information we've been told. The seas start freezing, the snow starts, and if we get caught in that, we could be there for 7 or 8 months, in which case, we'll have blown it.
With these planes, particularly the Spitfire, if you get into cloud, you can end up in whiteout and you don't know which way's up.
There is no automation involved. There is no autopilot. And modern aircraft aren't necessarily like that. They make decisions for you to help you out of situations.
Why don't we go for it? If we don't like it, come back. And if we do like it, carry on to the good weather.
Yeah, that's fine, but I don't think we're going to get back in here, or that would be a worry.
Fuel is a big issue. You become a flying bomb. Landing with that amount of fuel on board just after takeoff is really dangerous.
The pilot reports that we're getting, which is saying there is a gap. I hope that's true because, you know, as the days are getting on, the cloud just comes down pretty fast. Before you know it, you know, we're going to be getting pushed towards the ground, and it's pretty unforgiving out here.
Alright, let's take a deep breath then. So 135 knots at the glide speed, gear up, ideally onto land, if not into the water. If we do go into the water, we'll try and make it as close to land as possible so we don't have to swim far.
Matt Smith, are you airborne?
Yeah, just airborne.
Copy that. I'm at low level. The weather is appalling. Stay off me, stay off me. Stand by.
But as you can see, it's bloody dangerous because you just don't know what you're doing.
Well, there's no horizon, is there?
No. Yeah, it's critically dangerous.
So we're at 300 feet. Stay at least level with me. Intention is to go back to the field.
Yeah, I agree.
Tower, this is Spitfire formation. Both aircraft in very poor weather to the south and west of the field. Matt, don't forget, mate, you've got a very heavy aeroplane, very heavy tail.
Thanks for that, Smith. Good shout.
Terrain. Pull up. Pull up. Jesus. Pull up.
It's fucking noisy, mate. I don't turn that noise down.
Pull up. Terrain.
Okay, I'd like to plan to slightly approach 120, 125 miles an hour. Yeah, copy that. We're geared down and about a mile final. Copy that.
Back down.
Go for that.
Quite frightening. Had my heart rate up as well.
You right?
I'm quite emotional actually.
Well done.
That was a little bit too close to the wire for my liking.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we all want it to go.
I
It's
agree.
just- we just need to all of us take a step back and go. Let's just get our risk assessment.
We went
Totally agree.
based on the intel that we had.
There is a huge amount of risk in what we're doing. Back in the day, they were thinking about their enemies. Now I have a far greater understanding of what these veteran pilots think about.
Yeah, it was a fairly focusing moment. We will do our best not to have any more like that, that's for sure.
We're doing it day by day and trip by trip. We were at least 3 or 4 days behind the line.
One day we'll have a flight where we can see our destination.
We had a good day yesterday. We flew 1,000 miles, 3 sorties, 5 hours of flying.
En français?
En français.
Bonjour à tout le monde.
Bonjour.
Bon trip. Amusez-vous bien.
It's good. It's nice to feel like we're making progress.
We're coming back into civilization. We've seen our first road for 5 days. Through the Canada sky, with the lakes and the rivers everywhere. Hi Mike, how are you? It's an unbelievable country.
Just charming. So I'm moving out next week and you boys are going to have to find yourself a new PC-12 pilot. Jerry's doing the 25-hour check on Gertie.
It's been a busy day. Tiny little oil leak we had to fix. Other than that, haven't found anything that I don't like.
An honour to be here, frankly. There's some amazing aeroplanes in this hangar. She's in good company.
The UK and America have a very strong bond and have done for many, many years. Today we've got an opportunity to put this symbol of freedom, the Spitfire, alongside the US symbol of freedom too, the Statue of Liberty. And to capture that moment, that's really exciting.
bottom line is that we cannot afford to do anything that's daft or unsafe.
Engine failure for either of us.
In the river.
Canopy's closed. Thumbs up.
Oscar Yankee Tango Hotel Pop. You guys are formation flight of 2?
That's affirmative, sir.
You said you're a flight of 2, flight assist?
Negative, we've got a Sir Pilatus leading a Spitfire.
You're saying a Spirit 5?
No, like a Mustang, only British.
Thank you, sir.
This almost doesn't feel legal.
Just look out the window.
Matt, I'm going to keep the turn coming and then we'll roll out on north.
Two greatest symbols of freedom in the world. It was just a breathtaking moment.
Unbelievable.
I might wake up in a minute and realise we've just flown circles around Statue of Liberty.
We're in good shape. You know, we've made up time, we're on the line now. But I think we all fully understand that we're going to be behind the line again. That's just the nature of the beast.
You guys are blessed, really, to be able to do this, give people the joy of seeing it. Oh, just awesome. You can't help but be totally in awe of something that has just done so much and accomplished so much in the war.
Are you building a Spitfire, you guys?
My cousin is. He started it about 3-4 years ago, and he's been building it totally out of wood, and every piece of metal he's fabricating himself. So.
And it's going to be a Mark 9 Spitfire, is it?
It close. It's going to look exactly like yours, but it's going to have a couple switches in it that operate everything.
Makes sense. Oh, that's brilliant. You going to stick around and watch us take off?
Are you kidding me?
I figured.
He'll be lucky if I'm not holding on to the tail.
There's some serious weather out there. So we were flying around these fantastic columns when I noticed the temperature gauge suddenly dropped from 80 to less than 40.
The airplane overheats at 120 degrees, and after that the engine will melt, so you have to shut down.
I can't think of anything it could be other than that the gauge has failed.
Yeah, that's the capillary thermometer basically in there. Yeah, just disappears off
to the back of the gauge.
Yeah. And the solution.
We've been to Walmart. So the idea, we're then going to hide this deeper in the wing, reasonably cool place, hoping that we'll then be able to read the temperature in the airplane.
Every expedition needs help, and we need help now.
We have 20 to 30 warbirds here at any given point in time. We do most of our major maintenance here.
We've got a problem with our rad temperature gauge. So we're here in Texas at Dan Friedkin's ranch, and he's offered us some help in very much the same way that the Americans helped us during the war. The Spitfire and the Mustang are kindred spirits. They share the same Merlin engine at their heart.
I'm going to sell everything and buy a Mustang.
Everybody else is getting a bit of R&R. I'm getting a bit of sweat done. So now the boys are polishing, which is nice to see. Look, she looks $1 million.
When we decided not to paint this one, it became very apparent very quickly that we were going to be able to see all the dings and scrapes and scratches, dropped tool marks, and the reality of it is it's become even more special. MJ271, it's a very historical airplane, and actually in many ways was the inspiration for the trip. That airplane had 51 combat missions during the war, and some very notable pilots. Michael Giddings, who later became Sir Michael Giddings, Air Marshal in the RAF, and Flight Sergeant James Hyde, who came to Britain from Trinidad to fight for the war effort. He flew top cover in the Battle of Arnhem and ultimately gave his life. Was shot down somewhere over Holland, fighting for our freedom. Spitfire means so much to so many people, and I feel the responsibility to remember all of the people who gave their lives fighting it. That story is extremely important, and it's that story that we want to continue to be told so that it passes on from generation to generation.
Two fantastic Mustangs and the Silver Spitfire all flying closely together. What an experience.
The veterans talk about you don't get in a Spitfire, you put it on and it becomes a part of you. And it does feel like that. It does feel like it's meant to be. I hope it will continue telling the story that it started telling in 1943, and hopefully we will add a little bit to it in this trip.
I was born just after the war.
Yeah.
I might not be here if it hadn't been for the Spitfires and Hurricanes in the Battle of Britain.
Okay, I'm in company with the Supermarine Spitfire past Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz.
We might just have broken the world record for the furthest flight of a Spitfire. Silver Spitfire, the longest flight, intended to attempt to fly around the world. Hopefully she will exceed 10,000 kilometres soon and set a new record for the longest ever flight. Morning, Smithy. Yesterday we flew 3 sorties. Steve flew the first one. That was frustrating for me, if I'm honest.
I'll keep an eye on him on this one. He's unsighted now. He's unsighted again. Steve, can you move behind the aircraft, please? You're unsighted with us again on a collision course.
Yeah, turning away from us and belly up to us and couldn't see us. I found that extremely, made me very angry, actually.
Steve is a very positive, very can-do guy, always keen to push and push. Aviation doesn't really respect that very well. That kind of attitude has a history of killing people.
But I'm prepared to be told. You know, I'm not saying no. I don't need to be told what to do. I'm very happy to be told, but I do question.
He's a very experienced helicopter pilot. Flying fixed-wing aeroplane, completely different, and particularly at the speed the Spitfire goes with the intricacies that come with flying that aeroplane.
And you try these things out, and you learn, and you get more and more control.
And you make one little mistake.
Yeah.
One little mistake.
Yeah.
That any of us could make.
Yes.
So it's not worth it.
So it's not worth it, and I respect that.
But at the end of the day, we're just trying to keep him safe, keep the airplane safe, and make it back in one piece, I guess.
There's a saying in aviation, there are old pilots and there are bold pilots, but there are no old, bold pilots. And the point I was trying to get across to Steve was exactly that.
Cool, okay. Yes!
Dan, what's going on 8.3? There's a 1943 Spitfire that came in, and everyone out there having a look at it.
You have landed at Kelowna International Airport in Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. I'm the Member of Parliament here. As you saw, the community was really happy to see you, and thank you very, very much for coming. It's a unique experience for our community.
I brought my father's flight log here today. He was a Lancaster pilot in RCAF with Bomber Command, and he did 2 tours of duty in World War II.
A Lancaster into
Yes.
spin?
Yes, probably Maple Leafs, the sort of slow spin.
Good grief.
That broke the formation. And
was that a procedure they were taught to do? Was that something
No.
that he just, wow, saved his life? That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here.
That's what we're here for. That's what we're doing this for. You know, this aeroplane stands for so many people like your dad who were prepared to pay the ultimate sacrifice for what they believed in. And, you know, in his case, he made it. You trying to see?
That's him.
He looks dashing. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're
It's
welcome.
really good of you.
Gertie's just come out of a 50-hour service, and she's humming. She really is just singing along. I love flying that aeroplane. I love flying Spitfires, but Gertie's becoming very special to all of us, and it's a privilege to be able to fly her.
bet you enjoyed that.
Yeah. I'm not flying your airplane. I'm much happier when you're in there and I'm in here.
I'm kind of regretting the decision, to be honest.
This is quite an interesting map. This is the essentially the route that we're taking. The USA did a deal with Russia to help the Russians against the Nazis on the Eastern Front. 15,000 aeroplanes flew this route, this exact route that we're taking the Spitfire. We're not aware of any Spitfires coming up here, but they certainly had a number of other types of airframes that were used in the fight against the Nazis in the 40s. The Wasps, as they were known by the US, flew a lot of these aircraft. Most of the time they were flying through here, it would have been very, very cold and very treacherous. Very brave people.
This is mad, isn't it? Welcome to Alaska. Hey, the land of the free, man. It's just crazy up here. Anything goes up here.
We're in Alaska now, on the edge of Western civilization. We really need to take stock before we enter the unknown of Russia. I wonder how much fear has been expended in this cockpit. Russian runways were the demise of many Spitfires in World War II. We have little or no info on their condition now.
Ron's flown this trip through Russia over 100 times.
Do you know anyone that goes into Markovo that we can ask the condition of the runway there?
I don't know of anybody in the West. You're the only ones I've ever heard of in the last 20 years that have got into Markova or...
Hello, mate. So you don't think you're going to go anywhere till Sunday, do you? So my worry is that if we're there for much longer, it's going to make it incredibly difficult to even cross the Bering Strait. We need
When it starts snowing.
Yeah, exactly. Before we know it, Matt's going to go home.
Yeah, of course. When we started planning this 2.5 years ago, my life was very different. Nick and I were together then, but we weren't living together. Since then, we've bought a house. And we have conceived of a child, which is now planned halfway around the trip.
He's always wanted to be a dad. He's always wanted children. He's had a fast track to fatherhood with the boys. He is like a child in many ways himself.
Can we not import Nick into Russia?
They've got good hospitals now, Nadia.
I tell you what, you two negotiate that with her.
He's just his nature. He's really encouraging, loving, caring. He's going to be the most amazing dad.
We've got a pretty good idea of when the baby's going to be born. There is a risk that I could miss it, but I will be ready to go whenever. I think coming back for the birth and then leaving again will be even harder.
Right, let's get in. Get in and go.
Okay.
That's a whole new world. I've 45 years. It's just been look after me.
Scarier than the trip.
Oh, undoubtedly.
The weather has been kind to us, and we have come all the way across the fantastic Bering Straits, and we are now in Chukotka, Russia. Quite a lot of brown bears around here, so I'm just looking to keep an eye out as we talk, but I think we're looking good. This is the old town where the military used to live during the Cold War. Obviously completely deserted now, but it's on a scale that is unbelievable. I'm now standing inside the officers' mess, and you can see their beautiful scrolls and the pillars either side, days from the past.
Which one's our hotel?
Matt's room is just here on the end. We need to get through Russia before the winter set. And it is really setting. The trees have turned, the leaves have changed colour, and you can feel it in the air, and it's really close.
Where are we?
We are in Irkutsk,
in Russia. Russia. Your name?
Vadim.
Hey, Vadim's our navigator. He got
Vadim.
he got us here today. He's now a Spitfire pilot.
I'm no Spitfire pilot.
We're 8 stories up, staying with an old lady.
Shura, her name is.
I think you need just to have a pan around to see
what exactly it is.
What exactly it is. It is surreal.
It's totally surreal. I'm enjoying it though.
The Russians are fantastic. We love their attitude. Metal runway. There is no gravel on it whatsoever. It's like an old World War II runway. It makes a hell of a rattle as you roll over it. Cracking through Russia at this rate.
For hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles here, there is absolutely nothing. Just vast wilderness, vast emptiness.
We've seen a version of Russia which is very wild and very free and very big, and that was exciting.
Today was one of the hardest days of the trip, and at one moment, one of the scariest days of my life. And then I woke up this morning and had a call for Nick, who's pregnant at home with our son, and she was bleeding heavily and was terrified. And I wasn't there for her, and that was awful and really scary, and I felt utterly terrified and completely useless and really selfish. She's in hospital, and I think they're keeping, good care of her, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, situation basically is Nicolay's gone into hospital, Matt's desperate to get home, obviously. The Russian handler won't let us leave Russia. We paid 4 weeks ago, but the money hasn't arrived in his account. He's not going to get us the permission to leave Russia until he's got money in his bank account. And if we can't leave Russia, Matt's run out of patience. He's going to make his own way home. If Matt does that and parks the Spitfire in Russia, then it's basically the end of the trip. There's no way that Spitfire's staying in Russia for 6 weeks on its own. That'll be it. We have to freight it, pack it, and take it home. And if that happens, trip finished. So I've got an hour to sort this out. Yeah, I'm trying to get on to Shahjahan. When will he tell you? Okay, good. Please do. Thanks, Shahjahan. Cheers. Bye. Okay, so apparently they've now got a trace of the money, and they think it's actually going to arrive in Moscow any minute. So it's gone through the final gateway.
But nice to be in Japan. What we've done is come forward with the Pilates. We've still got one final leg to do in Russia, but the weather set in and we needed to get on with the expedition. Matt needed to get home, and Smithy will be coming in with the Spitfire.
He's coming.
We are in New Chisosei Airport. We are waiting Spitfire. Come, Spitfire.
There he is.
Hey.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. See you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. Done. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Matt's gone home, so I'm going to fly this down today. The bad news is that there's a typhoon weather phenomena in the southern part of Japan, which is going to be a bloody nuisance.
Typhoon Hagibis is bearing down on Japan and considered highly dangerous. People in the region are being asked to prepare for torrential rain, fierce winds, and storm surges.
50 miles an hour of wind, gusting to 65 miles an hour of wind. This thing cannot be out in those conditions.
He's avoiding the weather by the look of what we can see on the radar at the moment. You can see he's actually descended about 3,000 feet as well, so he's obviously encountered a bit of cloud. I'm not quite sure where he's going.
One of the most powerful typhoons ever recorded has left a trail of destruction across Japan. 19 are confirmed to have died, with dozens more still missing. The scale of this storm has been astonishing, stretching thousands of kilometers.
Hello, Peter.
He has safely landed, and I have somebody looking for him.
Jesus Christ, I think I've just aged about 20 fucking years. Fuck knows how Smithy feels. That looked like it wasn't much fun.
Oh, mate, you have no idea.
But
you have no idea. Anyway, it's safe on the ground, and that's about the size of it. Yeah, I need to calm down a little bit. So yeah, Japan got it yesterday. You know, we were extremely lucky. The reason we hurried to get the aeroplanes to Nagoya was to get them into a hangar, because everybody was rightly concerned about the typhoon. You know, we knew we would be vindicated in moving both aircraft down here and working hard to achieve that.
One saved message.
It's Matt. I made it back in time. Nick's as well. We've had a baby boy. I'm pretty tired, but I thought you'd like to know. With Queen Martha. It's an unbelievable feeling. I can't believe I'm a dad. I hope you're well, and look forward to seeing you in Nagoya. Speak soon. Take care. Bye.
Nagoya, about 150 miles southwest of Tokyo. Yeah, busy day yesterday, servicing and cleaning aeroplanes, ready for the second half start.
So yeah, we're all back.
Hello, congratulations.
I'm now a dad.
Finally grown up.
No, I'm just a dad. I think we're really exciting. You know, in part one we travelled 12,000 nautical miles, but only went through 4 or 5 countries. We've got 10,000 nautical miles to go as we stand today, but 20 plus countries still to go through. I think what we're going to see in the next couple of months will be really interesting, and some of the places that we'll fly over will be fabulous.
Nagoya Tower, good afternoon. Spitfire formation, request line up runway 34.
I have a name of in such a cool aircraft, and I hope your routes will be successful.
Let's go flying.
The adventure is fantastic, but it's extremely hard leaving my family and, you know, Arthur, my newborn son, at home, to come back here and to finish it. I just need to focus on finishing it safely now. Looks very familiar, that. So we've just arrived at the Peace Museum. This was an airfield during World War II. 439 kamikaze pilots left here and never came back.
The idea of taking off and not planning to land, it just blows my mind.
The smoke, we're thinking about the May piece for dead man.
These kids were 19, 20 years old when they were given one-way fuel.
So this is where the pilots slept the night before their missions.
When ultimately, you know, they became pilots because they loved the idea of being up in the sky and freedom and that sort of stuff. The fact in this case that it's twisted from a kind of really beautiful thing into something so deadly and so final, it's quite amazing.
What fuel's he got left?
What's your fuel level in the rear now?
97.
We set a target of doing it in 4 months. Time is slipping. We need to catch up.
Good afternoon, Spitfire formation. Currently heading south and then shortly turning right, Kilo Echo Charlie.
I love the feeling when we lift off.
Climbing to 8,500 feet, 3011.
Watching the world so small below.
Airborne VFR west, climbing to 8,000 feet.
I love the dreaming when I think of.
Right over the sea, I can see the Pilatus in the distance. Build up of clouds around, but clear blue sky above us, which is nice.
I wonder what keeps us so high up.
So we're back on the road again, flying south down towards Okinawa.
Keta, you fool!
I have visual with you. I'm just turning towards you.
It's really wonderful. You are welcome anytime here.
When you are visual, I have the lead.
Do you have the lead?
Yeah, good. That's an experience, wasn't it?
Cool, wasn't it? Very cool.
Kept a few jetliners waiting. Yeah, they were over the moon too. A couple of Aussie guys on the radio saying, yeah, it was amazing. I said to them, so I felt the pressure there, boys, you watching.
I mean, the whole thing about Hong Kong has been impossible from the start. You know, we're not supposed to actually land here. It's obviously one of the world's busiest international airports, so getting here in itself and getting fuel here is also nigh on impossible.
Oh, I've broken a nail.
With the help of these amazing guys, they've managed to get these barrels here for us and get them airside and on time. It's quite remarkable, really. That's Asia for you. Anything's possible. We're at a time where Hong Kong's going through some of its own political challenges.
These demonstrators and the powers that be may still be deadlocked, but there's no sign of fatigue on this, the pro-democracy side. And they know that what they are doing has the approval of most of their fellow Hong Kongers.
A bit of a danger that a British icon, particularly one that represents such a symbol of freedom and democracy, flying in right at this critical moment between Hong Kong and China, had a real danger of becoming a bit inflammatory. It's taken a little bit of shine off the achievement of getting here.
Hong Kong, day 3. Nice day here. Still not sure about Da Nang and where we're going, but it's better than it was yesterday, so we're going to brief and have a go. And, we have to be out of here by 7:30 this morning, otherwise we can't go. So. And what are you flying? Spitfire today.
It's a big water crossing. There's not a lot of divert options.
Smithy rightly is quite nervous. There's a lot of unknowns.
One of us going into the sea, we would hit the water at 90 miles an hour. The airplane will go down at something like 2 feet a second. I don't want it to happen to me. I don't want it to happen for anyone in our team. And yeah, it's quite frightening.
See you in Vietnam.
You betcha. And that's not an expression you'll hear every day. Clear prop!
You ready for taxi? Yeah, thumbs up.
the ground, Oscar Yankee Tango Hotel Papa and Golf India Romeo Tango Yankee. We are ready for taxi. Smithy with us? Yeah. You ready, Smithy?
That's all that'll be.
Clear for takeoff, 07 right, Oscar Yankee Tango Hotel Papa and Spitfire flight. You alright back there, Smithy? That speed alright for you, mate?
Yeah, sweet as.
It's only a 60-mile swim now.
Bravo.
There are milestones in this trip, certainly in my head, if not laid down, and this is a really, really big one.
So I've got survival beacons, and just in case I end up in the jungle, I've got a sat phone, because parachuting into the jungle is not going to be much fun.
I've got reds on the gear. I've got both tanks are pumping in on rather than auto, and I'm in auto.
Well, mate, good effort.
Well done, thank you.
Tidy work there.
A lot of the time we just sit in fear over the sea of the engine quitting. Yeah, that's the most I've enjoyed a flight for a long time.
It smells beautiful. Good day today though, 400, 600 yesterday, 1,000, 1,800 in the last week.
I feel a little bit closer to the Spitfire, and just seeing the real one right here is amazing, just unbelievable.
This is a gift now, we keep this. Thank you, very kind. Thank you. It's a bit warm today, Big Ben. As you can tell, this is not because I've been standing in the shower, it's because we're operating in relative heat of, what did you say, 120 degrees?
I could literally wring my overall out at this present moment in time. We're doing a 25-hour check today, having a look at the Merlin fingers. I'll drop the oil filters out, have a look at the oil filters. Just the ambient temperature that's a killer. The humidity, it probably has an effect on takeoff performance, especially if you're at high altitude airfields. This is a Rolls-Royce Merlin, 27 litre, 2-stage supercharged V12, designed in the late 30s initially, so that we could win what was the Snyder Racing Trophy, and they set ridiculous speed records with aeroplanes that looked like they shouldn't fly. Obviously the war broke out and the evolution of the Spitfire was really, really quick. We don't build anything in the modern day that can do what this airplane does. There's nothing out there that comes close to these airplanes. A lot of people just love it because it's a beautiful airplane. Got a lot of meaning for a lot of people.
We're in Myanmar. It's been closed for so many years and is open again now. It's a whole different world.
Coming into land there, I was very aware of the importance of the place. There were lots of Spitfires there during the war. It's a great example of how many cultures there are in all the countries that we're flying through.
The Buddha, he died in peace. Only the fourth great disciple can enter to Nirvana.
It's amazing really, his belief in 10,000, 20,000, 40,000 years of life. And quite a nice takeaway of sort of a mental state that would keep us on fairly happy.
You know, a bit like the underbelly of Europe. Everybody knows about D-Day and the invasion of Northern Europe in order to defeat Hitler, but you know, the Japanese were, you know, an equally tenacious and terrible enemy down in this part of the world. The Spitfires supported the British Army, who were instrumental in repelling the Japanese who were entrenched in Burma. How young is he? 88. Oh, good for you. Yeah, so there are 3 Burmese veterans. I think they're 88 to 98 years old between them. And which regiment? Signals? Signals? In the British Army or in the... Beautiful, beautiful men, but their hearts are still young and they're still happy and very proud, obviously, very proud men. But just can't imagine fighting in these climates. Just cannot imagine how they do it. A privilege to meet you both. Thank you very much for everything you did.
I'm very happy.
Good for you, my friend. Good for you.
What's really nice for me is to actually bring a Spitfire here and show for the first time a real Spitfire back in Burma since the war. It's really special. It's a real contrast between what you feel here is zen, beautiful people, but actually, like in so many places, underneath the surface, there's some real atrocities still going on. The anti-Muslim battles that have gone up in Rohingya state. The one thing that is consistent is that war is never far from any nation. The atrocities and horror and sadness that it brings to countries is something that unfortunately seems to be common throughout thousands of years of history, and one can't help but feel it's going to be the same going forward.
Air pollution in the north of India has reached unbearable levels as schools are closed and flights are delayed.
Because of the industry, a lot of pollution is there.
I see.
Delhi is really fully crowded, overcrowded in fact. So because of the vehicle pollution and industry pollution.
And there's a real problem with visibility, even for people in the city and their breathing and
the
stuff.
breathing problems are there.
So not a good place to fly an aeroplane.
No, not good place to fly an airplane. So instead, what we're looking at is going from here south to one of these airfields. The nature of an expedition is that it's tough. You can get into this bubble where we're just doing leg to leg, and we're focused, rightly so, on making sure the aeroplanes are working, that the pilots are not too tired, that we don't slip up in terms of safety and risk, and that we're having to deal with countries that are not geared up really for our type of expedition. So there's a lot of red tape.
Spitfires not very easy aeroplanes to land. I can think of 6 Spitfire accidents in recent years, one of which killed the pilot. As you get more tired, as the tour goes on, incidents and accidents, are going to be more likely to, happen.
We're on the tarmac at Nagpur, and at last all our permissions are in place. Our fuel is on board, and we're about to start a flight to Jodhpur. It's 10 to 8 in the morning.
Steve, how do you read?
Reading you 5.
We are 20 miles out from Jodhpur. 2.5 hours flight. Coming into slightly desert land now.
Golf Tango Yankee, clear to land runway 23.
Clear to land 23 with the gear, Tango Yankee. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. I've got a problem. I've got a problem.
Golf Tango Yankee, how do you read?
CFD pointing runway.
CFD 1 and CFD 2 to enter runway.
Steve, what's going on?
Golf Tango Yankee, hold position. CFD is proceeding on link Charlie 2, undercarriage problem with Spitfire.
That's all, far copy.
दूसरा भी निकाल लो। एक आप जना एक जना लगाओ। आगे बंदे। गायब हो गए।
Yes, very fortunate.
Okay, very fortunate. Are you all right?
Yeah. Okay, just a bit of a shock when you came into land, and then it felt like the undercarriage hadn't come down on this side. The wing just kept on going down and down and down, and then it started going to the left.
And what's your reaction? I think we've been fucking lucky, to be honest. Shall I say that again without fucking? Yeah. I think we've been very lucky. It's just a ready reminder that aviation is dangerous and that things can happen at any time. I think he did a good job, given the cards he was dealt.
Everyone is getting exceptionally tired. Cumulative fatigue is kind of starting to set in. We all decided that we need a couple of days off.
It's an absolute madhouse.
A cacophony of noise and colour.
Everybody's happy and joyful and goofing around doing their thing.
We are trying to find something suitable, a suitable attire, to go and meet the Maharaja at his palace this evening. And it's turning out to be slightly trickier than we thought. Is it just a regular drinks party that he has that we've been invited? It's in our honour. Wow, it's in our honour. It's looking good. Oh, pretty.
Cheers, thanks for a lovely welcome.
Cheers.
Funny, when we started the trip, we sort of thought, you know, this, what we were doing hopefully was special and would move people. It does seem to have done that.
Wowzers. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Actually, people don't know anymore that Jodhpur was actually the first international airport in India. At a little tunnel we've created to honor Jodhpur aviation and the coming of the Silver Spitfire. We're trying to regenerate the old city and make it more viable, save it and make it contemporary. The man in front is the Maharaja of Jodhpur, Maharaja Umed Singh, who is the father of Jodhpur aviation. The man next to him actually happens to be my great-grandfather. The reminder of our own legacy, and it's obviously a tribute to one of the great adventures of modern times. There are very few left, so it's great to have you all.
10 Squadron, which has its history from RAF days, was based at my base, and they flew the Spitfires. So for us as a base, it's indeed a privilege for all of us to have the Spitfire out there.
Strange place, really in the middle of nowhere. And we're all a bit nervous here because literally everywhere you look, there are people with guns.
Every day counts now. We've only got a couple of weeks to get home or risk getting stuck in Europe.
So there's a real sense of starting to get towards home.
So many of these Emirates have been supporters of the RAF. They've named and bought Spitfires back in the day. Seeing the Spitfire coming over in the desert, it just felt like it was back home again.
It's as natural as a camel, doesn't it?
It just does.
And I think the next thing is we're going to be looking for the ground to start turning green. We'll know we're back in Europe, and it won't be far at all.
Just landed in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Just had the most extraordinarily warm welcome. They've just laid on everything for us.
The Crown Prince's two sons were genuinely excited about coming to see us and what we were up to.
I think it means a lot to them that we're here.
No, it's an honour to welcome you to Bahrain and safe travels home.
It makes such a difference to us when we get such a warm welcome.
The nations in this area contributed whatever they could in order to buy Spitfires. You know, the UK was broke and we were losing aeroplanes at such a rate, so we had to build them at such a rate, and we couldn't necessarily afford to. So lots of people around the world put their hands deep into their pockets, produced money, which then paid for the war effort.
This is a brochure, propaganda flyer. Spitfires are in fighting It shows you like drawings of them fighting around the world. And it says here that the countries have donated for these Spitfires.
Without their generosity, we wouldn't have had as many Spitfires and we wouldn't have won the war. Got only 2 weeks left before we are supposed to get home. We've got Europe to contend with in the winter, which could be, you know, not disastrous, but it could delay us by weeks, frankly. Yeah, everybody's dead tired. You're just running out of reserves. We're all running on empty, so we do need to bolster up, you know, encourage each other and just make sure that we've remained safe for the last 2 weeks and get both aeroplanes and all of us home to Goodwood safely.
Kuwait and Britain have been friends for many years. In fact, it's 120 years since we signed the Anglo-Kuwaiti agreement.
Just had the feeling of the World War II and how they were fighting, man. It's like crazy. There's no ejection seat, huh?
No ejection seat.
Jump to the wing and jump.
They supported us through the war. It's a really special friendship, and we're going to mark that today.
You took your time to turn or whatever you want to do to get back to the integration. We're going to try to make sure that you guys are going to be flying next to our towers, and we're going to let the F-18 come closer to you, and we'll make sure that you have a good picture of them.
One rolling now. F-18, echelon left, go. Matt, it's very tight, stay exactly where you are. Okay, look out the window, everybody.
Awesome, the ambassador say thank you, and it was a beautiful shot.
Excellent, my friend.
Flying Gertie in North Africa, there's so much history of the Spitfire in this theatre. It's amazing to see her against such iconic backdrops. We're in Europe. That's quite a moment. Just so lucky to be able to have this experience, and just in any aeroplane to see the world from that height is special, but you know, over the wing of this thing, incredible. I think I did about 25 rolls in the period of today's flight.
Saying the first day of winter today. So again, just like across Russia, you get the feeling that you're the last one out to turn the lights off, and the trees were changing colour, and you were like, you know, let's get out of here. And you got the same feeling here that the winter's coming. We're just nipping through.
Yeah, I think of home a lot. It does focus the mind. When I'm getting into the aeroplane and I feel tired, it makes me question the decision of whether I should fly or not, and it normally has the effect of bringing me up and getting me ready and making me mentally prepared. because it has been mind-blowing and it has been frightening. You know, out of that fear has come a great sense of achievement on days when we've completed flights that were looking pretty tough. You know, all of that together, you know, makes me realise how special this is. I hope I haven't expanded my little mind to a point where it now needs this, because if that's the case, I'm in deep trouble.
This is my first time I meet a Spitfire.
Oh, there we go, okay. Yeah. Beautiful.
It's a dream come true.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So here we are, towards the end of the trip. It's nearly over. And right now I'm just on a boat, making my way through Venice. I really appreciate what it is we've done before we head home.
We've got some pretty tough weather to consider, and we've got the Alps in front of us, which are not the easiest things to pass. So we really need to be on our best game for the last week or so of this trip. This adventure is unbelievable.
How's it look? Yeah, it's pretty misty, mate, but we'll press.
But now I just need to get home and be a father.
Pull my heartstrings now, 'cause I long for the winter where it's cold out, and I fall into shivers. Do you know how I feel lost, but I'm searching, found my way back home, found my way back home. Ooh, 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 take me home to that place I know, to that place I call my home.
Well, here we are. 3 legs to go over the Alps, and my God, it's beautiful.
And I've flown Spitfire into Germany before, but a guy came up to me and said, I'm sure people have been coming to you and saying, hey, the Spitfire, this is the saviour of our country. He said, but what most people don't realise is it was the saviour of our country as well. How much is the hangar a night?
Für Engländer ganz viel.
We live in a mostly free world now, and that's what this aeroplane stands for in so many ways. We're at Lelystad Airport, very close to Amsterdam. Gertie, or then known as MJ271, which had a first restoration here to museum standard, which is really cool. And really, she spent more of her life in this place than anywhere else.
So a very exciting moment. They're all really pleased to see it because they will remember it. And of course it looks so different now.
Rightful destination for the last flight before it goes back together. Yeah.
Again, back home, back
Yeah,
home.
exactly. Really cool.
How's it looking, Steve?
And we should be taking off in 2 hours' time, and at the moment it is thick fog. So right now it's looking a bit difficult, which would be unbelievably upsetting to not be able to finish it now because everyone's there and waiting for us.
It really doesn't seem very long ago, does it, that we were all here on that glorious August day to bid them farewell, and here they are within a matter of miles of touching back down here again at the lovely Goodwood.
Ooh. Freezing fog is a terrible thing for both airplanes actually, but certainly more so for this. You will crash your airplane very quickly if you fly in freezing fog.
I'm close to tears, isn't it? He is. I'm nervous.
But this is aviation, it's constantly like this, so we just have to keep our fingers crossed.
We set out to do this in 4 months, and today is our last chance to do that.
This aeroplane means an enormous amount to a lot of people. It stands for a period of time when people were prepared to pay the ultimate sacrifice for something they really believed in, and that was democracy as we know it.
So hello, Spitfire Golf India Romeo Tango Yankee on the standby, the tower, requesting start for Goodwood.
It became this sort of emblem that stood for something incredible and meant people were standing up for their morals and were prepared to do anything for that.
I've been cleared to start, so I'll do my own call. I'll see you in the air.
Roger that.
We live in a free world because of the Spitfire, and hopefully with Gertie, we've inspired people along the way.
So if this expedition just makes people remember those sacrifices and those efforts that were made all those years ago, that in itself is enough.
To fly over the Channel to see Calais and to fly over that stretch of water, that was the theatre that it became so famous for. And to fly through that theatre and arrive back at Goodwood and see the family again is going to be a very special time.
Good luck, everybody. Emotional, I couldn't stop crying again. I was like, I know what's wrong with me. I need to get away from these aeroplanes because every time someone says Spitfire, I start flubbing. So here we are approaching the White Cliffs. Such an iconic British view, particularly over the wing of a Spitfire. The guys, when they fought during the battle, you know, this was their sign that they were nearly home and they'd survived potentially one more mission. The two really are synonymous with the great bravery and courage that they all showed for all of our benefits.
Still that red steel.
You guys sure do look pretty.
Yeah, it's good to see you. This is another day in the office.
Hallelujah.
Red, smoke on, go.
Cheers, guys. We have had one hell of a time. The team has stayed together and just made it possible. What a piece of design, what an engine, what an aeroplane.
Oh my God, what a crap! Well done, guys!
Finally! Get this on camera.
It's just fantastic to be home, though.
To see your wife and your son, just amazing, just amazing.
Sleeping through it.
Yeah, I'll remind him of this.
How do we British, sir?
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Seeing Goodwood again, you know, it's been so many months of different airfields, and this is our home airfield. God, it's been an incredible experience, absolutely incredible experience.
Like when we came back.
I found my wings, I missed it all.
We were all very excited to see the Silver Spitfire.
It's one of my favourites.
I hold my breath.
Legend, fighter flying. I am very happy.
There's something in the way you move.
Things like this deserve to be in the public eye and be seen and appreciated.
There's something in the way you move your body. The longest fly higher and higher, synchronized Just